This year has been the year for the rise of the layer 2's. We've seen Optimism, Arbitrum, and a bunch of others arriving on the scene. But there's one dark horse that's starting to take over and could potentially be the lead horse in the future when it comes to the world of layer 2's. And you potentially have never even heard about it. But in this video, we're going to break down exactly why Linea, built by Consensus, is one of the most important projects to know about in crypto right now. I'm also going to explain how we can get onto their Voyager program in order to earn experience tokens slightly later on. This is going to be a good one, so hit the like button and let's get into today's video. Now guys, since the dawn of time with cryptocurrency, we have had a few little issues. Well, not since the dawn of time, more since the dawn of Ethereum. Ethereum, the first smart contract blockchain built by Vitalik Buterin and 5 other individuals who you can see in this picture. Now the one we want to focus on is this guy on the right, Jeremy Lubin. And I'll come round to why we want to focus on Jeremy Lubin in just a little while. Now, since Ethereum has been around, we know that Ethereum has struggled with a number of issues, such as scalability, which has ended up causing huge problems, such as slow transaction speeds and high costs. However, Ethereum, unlike other layer 1 blockchains that are still entering the space all the time, promising much higher speeds and other bits and pieces depending on how they're built, all fail to match Ethereum for its level of security and decentralization. And therefore, Ethereum is here to stay. However, to be able to adapt and change in the future with the upgrade of Ethereum 2.0, we still perhaps are lacking. This therefore left room for layer 2 EVMs to arrive. And there are a variety of different layer 2 scaling solutions built on Ethereum. And here you can see, under a variety of different sidechains, you've also then got Validium, where Starknet is built. You've then got Plasma, where you've got Matic or Polygon built on top of that. And then you've got the roll-ups, which is a newer type of EVM. And under the roll-ups is where we see Linea sitting. Now, what on earth is a rollup, or more specifically, a ZK zero-knowledge rollup? Well, according to Vitalik Buterin, a layer 2 is the future for Ethereum scaling. This is the guy who founded Ethereum himself, but most importantly, he's already identifying that layer 2 EVM rollups have the ability to take Ethereum forward, preserving its decentralization and security, but while making it exponentially faster and cheaper to run. How does it work? Well, it takes a bundle of different transactions and it puts them into one. It then rolls it through and throws it out the other end, splitting up that transactional cost by all the different transactions that are part of that roll-up. Now, how might you describe this? Well, simply put, to make it very straightforward and simple to understand, if I want to drive my car from, let's say, Bristol to London, maybe the return journey in fuel costs me about £100. But if I take a bus ticket, it doesn't cost me £100. Why is that? Because me and everyone else gets rolled up and put into a bus, and I go to London and back on the bus, and maybe I pay myself a £15 or a £20 ticket. And that's because the bus per person uses far less fuel, gas tokens, perhaps, than the car. And this is really important because obviously Vitalik is very supportive of his own project. He's very behind this. But what led to the rise of Consensus is something very different. Vitalik has always been about the development of the cryptocurrency ecosystem rather than just lining his own pockets. Now, in the earlier days of Ethereum, we saw a few of the founders having their own ideas about how to go and take it forward and how to build their own projects. We've seen various projects from those founders, such as Polkadot coming out, and then we saw a company rise out called Consensus. And you're like, well, I've never heard of Consensus. But Consensus is one of the most important projects potentially in the crosshairs of cryptocurrency right now because it's one of the most funded projects across all of crypto, and I'll show you proof of that in just a moment. But Consensus is behind a suite of a few different projects, one of which I'm certain out of this list that you have probably heard of, and that is MetaMask. And the fact that Consensus owns MetaMask is going to be hugely influential once we move into the future, where we start to talk about Linea EVMs. And we'll come to that in just a moment. But as we look across to CryptoRank.io, free website, you will see that Consensus over the last few years has actually been very busy indeed, and in multiple stages has managed to raise hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, currently with a valuation at around $7 billion. And yet you've probably not even heard of it because you're too busy looking at coins with frogs and cats on. And why is this a big deal? Well, it's because this sort of funding and this sort of backing makes Consensus a fairly sustainable project, no matter what the situation is in the future, whether we roll into bull markets or bear markets or whatever happens. Something else that's really important is this. Consensus, in the past, has partnered up with Visa in order to help bridge CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, with traditional finance. And that's a very important thing. As well as that, you'll see they have partnerships with MasterCard in order to support the future of multi-blockchain commerce. MetaMask is also teamed up with PayPal, and across all of these different companies, there is a huge amount of collaboration going on between traditional finance, traditional commerce, and the blockchain. And this is where the EVM rolls in. Now, as we know, a number of layer 2s have already emerged, and it is quite a competitive space. And I've talked about this on my channel before. There's always room for different companies doing various different bits and pieces, even if they're within the same sort of competition type market. However, in my opinion, when you come towards the layer 2 solution for Ethereum, I feel that one project could potentially rule them all, because if it's able to bring costs down enough and bring speed and performance with it, then why would you ever go for anything else? And earlier on this year, Consensus launched, guess what? Linea. Now, what is Linea? Well, Linea is a developer-friendly ZK rollup powered by Consensus. Now, what does it mean by developer-friendly? Well, there is a bunch of different layer 1s and layer 2s out there, and now, if you're not particularly technical, this might be a little bit confusing. But don't worry, I myself am completely non-technical, so hopefully I'll be able to break it down into more simple terms so that we can all understand. Now, developer-friendly is very important. When it comes to developing on blockchains, lots of crypto and things like that are very new concepts. They're quite complex to understand for traditional styles of development. Now, there are a bunch of blockchain developers who are increasing their knowledge all the time. And if they want to work with and implement certain blockchain tech, then they obviously want to find ones that are easy to implement while still being able to deliver all those kind of top-notch elements. And because Consensus is owning MetaMask, it's making life even easier for developers, because Linea is an innovative layer 2 solution which new decentralized applications will be built by developers and made easily accessible in MetaMask. It makes everything much easier because of MetaMask. Not only that, all projects that have been traditionally built already on Ethereum, it can be quite difficult to migrate these over. However, Linea, along with Consensus, make it extremely easy to migrate projects or decentralized applications that have been built on Ethereum and move them across onto Linea. This has meant that Linea has been able to grow hugely quickly this year, in the first few months alone gaining over 500,000 new users who are starting to develop on the platform. And as we look into this over on L2beat.com, you can see that Linea here currently has a total value locked of $140 million and is continuing to grow all the time. This is very important because this is where you start to see projects growing before maybe seeing a reaction from the rest of the market. Now, if you come across to the Linea website, which you can find linked down below in the description, then you can find out a lot more information and things going on here about how this project works and why different dApps and things will be built on top of it. Now, as someone who's looking at potentially building a crypto project down the line in the future, make sure you subscribe if you want to know a little bit more about that. I've started to look at various different developer solutions. Again, as a non-technical person, I'm starting to find out a few different things about this. But ultimately, we could be moving forward to an environment where you or I could potentially just have an idea and go and be able to use various different solutions with the help perhaps of a developer or two in order to deliver a project extremely fast and extremely cheaply. I think gone are the days of where projects etc. cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build because you needed extremely specialist developers to be able to do it. Soon we're going to see projects and tools so well adept to bringing in new developers that it's going to bring the costs right down, and that means we're going to get a ton more fabulous projects being launched all the time. Now, what else is important about this? Now, we know as well as anyone, there are a bunch of layer 1s out there that are like Ethereum is dead and Ethereum's not going to be anything. But I think fundamentally, behind Vitalik and Vitalik's mentality, because in my opinion he's not really about the money, but he's more about the kind of non-profit development of cryptocurrency and the blockchain, I feel that that has the longevity to be able to drive this forward. And everyone else who's building on top of Ethereum is also buying into that concept. And that's why you can see Linea is committed here to Ethereum. Now, as you come across to Twitter for Linea, you will see that it has nearly 750,000 followers and is keeping lots of exciting things happening on it all the time, sharing different information that's coming out of the various different projects they're launching from Infura, coming out of updates that are happening on MetaMask, Infura, and other bits and pieces. Then you'll see that Linea is moving towards something very important. So if you are interested in being involved in cryptocurrency for the next year or 2 years, whether that means trying to invest and make money, whether that means from the eyes of a developer, it's really important that you start to understand how these projects are working and how these are going to influence the future of crypto as a whole. Now, Linea is already being used and starting to be implemented for a variety of different decentralized applications, from DeFi to payment solutions, infrastructure, gaming, NFTs, and much more. But something I want to do in order to improve my own technical knowledge, but also to integrate myself more heavily within this very interesting ecosystem, and potentially what I see coming out the back end of this is to go across to Voyage DeFi. Now, what is a Voyage DeFi? Well, welcome to Linea. Voyage DeFi will bring everyone from Web3 newcomers to seasoned investors an intuitive, immersive, and educational DeFi experience. We're teaming up with Interact and MetaMask, learn to deliver a 6-week voyage that will cover all sectors of DeFi. Now, this is a great way if you're new to cryptocurrency to understand more about DeFi. Not only that, by interacting with this, you'll also be able to earn experience tokens. Now, it's important to note that these experience tokens right this second don't have a monetary value. So be very cautious, because there are other scams and things going out around there telling you to go and buy these tokens. Do not buy anything, okay? You don't need to spend any money. Just come across to the link to go and find out more about this voyage. Now, why might it be very interesting? Well, if you've been around in this last year or so, it's very hard to look anywhere without the word airdrop being dropped on you. Now, Consensus has always been a project that has basically been interested in making money. Now, this is my opinion, but in the early stages of Ethereum, where Vitalik was all about the kind of pure non-profit world of crypto and trying to not become a billionaire, although he seemed to manage it anyway, a few others were trying to encourage ways in which they could maximize profits to come out of Ethereum. One of which was obviously the founder who went and founded Consensus. So wouldn't it make sense that Linea down the line would look to be able to create ways to make more funds? Therefore, launching some form of a token. How might you launch a token onto a successful working blockchain? You encourage people to interact with it in a way like this. You give them experience tokens, and then guess what? To reward them for that down the line, maybe you give them an airdrop. Although there is no news or anything saying that there's going to be an airdrop, this is just me speculating, and something I think this is why I want to interact with this. Now, come down below, what is DeFi Voyage? You see it's going to walk through various different bits from MetaMask. It's going to walk through how to use different bits and pieces such as Interact, and this takes place over a 6 weeks, 10 wave, 10 core task program. Now, if you're new to crypto and you really want to learn more, what better way to do it, guys? This is going to be a great way for you to interact with over 80 decentralized applications and learn way more than 90% of the people in this whole kind of crypto community. You'll be able to go through various discords and AMAs and just really kind of sharpen up yourself and become an innovator in the crypto space. Now, this could be as well something you want to pay attention to. Now, right now, in my opinion, the whole kind of traditional jobs market is about to get a real shake-up. You've just seen the implementation of ChatGPT, and that is going to potentially change the way that everything works. In my opinion, now this is obviously my opinion, the future of jobs is going to be very, very different from how it is in 10 years. So wouldn't it make sense to future-proof yourself by potentially moving towards and reskilling yourself on your own by doing something like this? And that's just an idea, just in case you don't make retirement money from this bull market. In the first phase, you'll learn how to do things like bridging. You can change ETH on Linea to various other different tokens, or bridging across like Optimism or Arbitrum or various others. And this is literally launched earlier on this month. So if you want to find out more information about that, then make sure you click on the link down below in the description. Remember, this could be one of the most exciting and interesting projects that is launching right now in the crypto space. So don't always just focus on the quick and easy wins, guys. Sometimes it's worth digging a little deeper and really engrossing yourself in being a little bit of a crypto nerd. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel and you want to see what I've got to talk about tomorrow, then make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye-bye.